Okay, I just thought of something. Ready?
Yeah.
Right guys, welcome to another episode of Tasty Business. Today I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful potato gnocchi with basil pesto and some seasonal vegetables. We've got courgettes, broad beans and peas. First up, for potato gnocchi, we need potatoes. We're going to bake the potatoes at 220 degrees for about an hour. The most important thing about potato gnocchi is the actual variety of the potato. You're not going to make good gnocchi if you're using baking potatoes. It's such a white flesh, it's very liquid. This is an agria potato, or you can get Desiree. We want something that's got a really dry mash. If you've got a shit potato, you're gonna make shit gnocchi. We're gonna bake potatoes on a bed of salt. Put the potatoes on. Baking the potatoes is really important. Normally, like if you ask someone to make mash, they boil it in water. But by baking it in the oven, we're not letting any moisture go into the potato, and even by placing them on a bed of salt, we're going to extract more moisture and impart flavour into the potatoes. The aim is to get the driest mash possible to make the lightest, fluffiest gnocchi. That one's on 220. Potatoes in, timer on. We're going to make pesto, which is going to form the sauce for our gnocchi. So pesto, we've got the basil, parmesan, garlic, pine nuts, salt, pepper and olive oil. Pick down the leaves. So traditionally in Italy they make the pesto with a pestle and mortar. So pesto means to like pound, but I'm going in a food processor. It's just quicker. I actually find if you make it in a food processor it stays a lot greener anyway, just because you're chopping it with a sharper blade rather than just like bashing the hell out of it. So some people say it should always be made in a pestle and mortar, but I mean, I'm not Italian, so. Right, herbs picked. Now I'm going to grate the parmesan and the garlic. Nice fine shave on the microplane. It's all about getting everything in order. Cooking is quite easy if you got all of the bits already done, you know, all of the parmesan shaved, the basil picked. If you're like, oh, I need to pick the basil, put it in the KitchenAid, oh, and then I need to go and get the garlic, and then, you know, just get it all fucking organised, and then it's a dream. So you got freshly grated parmesan there. And then get a couple of cloves of garlic. It's going through a food processor, but if you put this in just whole or chopped, it's gonna stay chunky. Garlic, just again on the microplane. Microplane is so important. It's just gonna make it into a paste. Nice even paste. Pine nuts. So I roasted the pine nuts already because I need them cold to go through. You don't want to roast pine nuts and then put them straight in the pesto, because if you put hot pine nuts, whiz that with basil, that's going to go brown. Roast them in the oven. You want to go low temperature. Set a timer. Most burnt item in the kitchen is nuts, because people just forget about them. They're not cheap pine nuts. Like, these cost me £6. So you don't want to burn them. Right, now to finish everything. So first in, we'll go the basil, and then I'm going to go in with the pine nuts, cheese, olive oil. You can put olive oil in, but you can't take it out, so don't overdo it at the beginning. It's another case of using your senses, your eyes. You know, you can see the consistency. You know the consistency of pesto, and if you've got to add a little bit more, just use your eyes. You know, use your fucking eyes. Just trust yourself. So then we'll start just whizzing that up. So I can see I'm going to need a little bit more olive oil. Just get that going. I mean, there is a fix. If you put too much olive oil in, you can always add a bit more cheese, because cheese thickens it. Or you can add some more basil. Now you just want to taste it for seasoning. How it tastes, definitely needs salt. Just put a little bit of black pepper in. Okay, just give it a little. Then we're just going to taste that again. touch more salt. Again, you can't take salt out, so just you gotta trust yourself when you're seasoning it. You go back a few times and taste it until you get it bang on. And that is bang on. Pesto done. Obviously it's quite easy to go out and buy some pesto, but you're making it fresh. It's tasting fresh, it's gonna be vibrant. You're not gonna get that from a shop or pesto. What you can do, if you're putting that in the fridge for a week or so, you just put a nice layer of olive oil over the top. Beautiful. Potatoes in, the pesto's made. It's just now down to prepping the veg. It's all green veg, so it's about keeping it as fresh as possible. So we've got lovely English peas, broad beans, and Romano courgettes. Everyone's so suckered into like getting every ingredient all year round. Eat stuff when it's good. That's when it's going to taste the best. We'll eat it when it's in season. Peas, broad beans in the summer. Buying courgettes in the middle of winter. Just eat something else. Squash, pumpkins. Let's get on to the fun part, prepping the vegetables. So you're just gonna take the middle out of the peas. Yeah, so you just pop those open. And then I'm gonna blanch them and split them. So I'm gonna split the peas, I'm gonna split the broad beans. Prep the broad beans, so this is exactly the same. Take the beans out of the pod. Peas, broad beans done. Last thing, just the courgettes. And they're nice and thin. Just gonna slice them into little rounds. Nice even shape, just so they cook evenly. What I'm gonna do is gonna blanch the beans and the peas quickly. It means literally just quickly dip in boiling water, and then I'm gonna put them in the ice water just to loosen that skin, just so I can peel the beans, and then they're still gonna be raw inside. Courgettes don't need any cooking. It's just the beans and the peas. So first up, we'll go with the peas. It's good to have one of these baskets because you just put the peas in, take them out. That water's nicely salted, really well seasoned. And then we'll just take them out. Let those chill now quickly in the ice. Those peas are chilled, put them back in their bowl. Then we'll go in with the broad beans. Same process, 15 seconds in the water. Just cooking that outside skin so we can peel it easily. When you eat a pea skin, it's actually not that nice. That is just the pure seed. I mean, just look at the difference as it is. Like, that's white. Beautiful broad bean in the middle. The inside's just so tender and sweet. So now I'm just gonna split the peas and the broad beans first. So you just wanna nick that little sack and squeeze out the bean. This is just gonna look so much nicer on the plate. It's just elevating. These are the jobs you just get laboured with if you go and do a stage somewhere in a restaurant. Picking peas or splitting almonds or something. The joys. I can kind of understand when people are like, fuck that, peeling peas, but this is just how to elevate every level of the dish. Rewards in taste, flavour, appearance, everything basically. Yeah. Key with gnocchi, prep the potatoes whilst they're hot. If you leave them, they're gonna go claggy and horrible. So we wanna cut them open. That's perfect. You see how that's nice? Those potatoes are nice and floury. We need to pass our potatoes through a very fine sieve. So there's no use getting this fucking thing and mashing the potatoes like that. They go gloopy and you're not gonna get a nice floury gnocchi. So I've got a drum sieve, but you can use like a standard kitchen sieve and just pass the potato through that. What you can do now, use a cloth and you can just sort of push the potato through. And you're looking for the potato to come out in long strands, and that's how you know you've got a nice potato. If it's coming through and it's looking all mushy and watery when you put it through the sieve, it's not looking good for you. So you want to pass the potato while it's hot, otherwise it's going gloopy. You want to be mixing it while it's still warm. And this whole process, you can see I'm not really working the potato, I'm just helping it through the sieve. If you want to give yourself a double win on the potatoes, you can toss these skins in a nice bit of olive oil, put them back on the tray, back in the oven, and you've got potato skin crisps. So we've got 500 grams of mash there. So we've got flour, corn flour, eggs, flour. Now you've got the potato there, you're just going to layer over all that flour. It's 100 grams of flour, and then 10 grams of corn flour. The corn flour is just stabilising it a bit more. Corn flour soaks up a lot more moisture than not regular flour. Just chop that together, get one of these spatulas. You don't, again, we're not trying to overwork it. We're getting the potato nice and well dispersed in amongst the flour. So just going to chop it up. You can tell I've done that before. Made gnocchi, I mean. Okay, so 2 egg yolks. So that's the easiest way to make a split an egg. Just crack it both into a bowl and then lift it out with your hand. Just pinch it there. Okay, then we're just going to do the same. Just so chop it through. Egg yolks just enriching the dough. Also just helping it bind properly. Now, let's make sure we season up the mix. We're going to have well salted water, so you just want a couple of pinches of salt in there. The worst thing you can do is not season this part of the dish at this point, because there's no way you can get the salt back inside the gnocchi if you've forgotten to do that once you shaped it. Right, and we've now got it to this stage. We're just going to bring it together into an actual dough. We're going to knead that, gently knead that. So just using the heel of our hands just to knead it into a nice homogeneous dough, so we don't really want all of that yolk to be too obvious. If you feel it's a bit sticky or it's too hard, or if it's too wet, you can add a bit more flour. It should sort of go into a nice smooth dough. You can see how it's becoming nice and smooth. We don't want to overwork this. You see, I'll work that for like a minute max, just to get it. It's just using that rocking motion, the heel of your hands. Cover that with a cloth whilst it's relaxing for 10 minutes. Dough's been resting, still in a nice shape. We've got to tell we've got a really good dough there. Just going to take that into 4 nice bits of dough. Just lightly flour the side, and you can just roll that out. I'm going to roll it out into a nice log. I mean, this dough is feeling really nice. It's stable. It's not too firm. It's not too soft. So what I'm going to do, transfer the little gnocchi logs onto here. Then we can cut them and just slide them into the water. So you're not having to lift them off the table, transport them to the water. I'm just going to hold this over the top of the water and just drop them in. Make sure you've got a knife that's long enough to cut in one motion. So I'm just going to trim off the ends, just make them neat. Okay, and then we're just going to cut these into little pillows. So, inch. Now, water is seasoned, boiling rapidly. Okay, bring your board over with your gnocchi on, drop the gnocchi straight in the water. You can give it a quick little stir. Have your ice water ready. If you left that dough raw, like that, in that state, in about a few hours, it'd just like lose all its structure. So when the gnocchi floats to the surface, it is going to be ready. We'll just wait for that to happen, then we'll put that straight in the ice water. So now gnocchi's floated to the surface, we're just going to drop that in the ice water. Little pillows of joy. Drain all the water off. Just tip them out onto the cloth, dry them off nicely. And then with a little bit of olive oil. So I like to line them up neatly. Connect 4. Got the gnocchi, got your veg prepped. Last thing, whip the ricotta. So you got nice ricotta di bufala, buffalo ricotta. Soft, it's creamy, it's going to bind everything together. Going to whip it till it's nice and smooth, slightly aerated. What we can do is just season that up. Nice bit of black pepper, touch of salt, nice bit of lemon zest in there. So whipping the ricotta is just going to add that nice, it's just going to become nice and light, it's aerated, it becomes really smooth, And then we adjusted the seasoning, so we've got a bit of salt, pepper, and the lemon zest, so you can bring a nice rounded finish to the plate. And now we can actually finish it all off. Exciting. A little bit of olive oil. And then you got to let those colour on the one side now. Start the gnocchi off, they take a little bit longer than the courgette. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to add the veg in the one side, so it'll touch longer. It's all about checking. It's like when you're checking seasoning. It's all about turn and check, and have everything ready. See, that's what we're looking for. Even golden. Now we turned all of those. These courgettes are going to cook pretty quickly. We're not looking for too much colour on these. Just going to give them a little season. At this point, once you've just put the courgettes in, I'm going to go a little bit of butter in amongst the gnocchi. And what we're looking for is a burnt butter. So looking for the butter to just brown a touch. I'm cooking this on sort of like a medium to low heat. You can see the courgettes just changing colour slightly. I'm going to add in the peas and the broad beans. They don't need long at all, so we're going to add a tiny bit of water to this, okay? To finish, a nice spoon of pesto. So the water is just to help the pesto get through in the sauce, and so you're not putting pesto into like a searing hot frying pan, because that's just going to immediately burn the cheese, and frying cheese is just going to make it go clumpy. So we're looking for a little bit of texture for the sauce, a little bit of sauciness. Plate up time. So you want a good spoon of ricotta in the middle of the plate, and then what we'll do, put that ricotta all around the base, so we're getting it with every forkful. That's what we're looking for. Just going to build this up. See, it adds that really beautiful base for the gnocchi to sit in. See, those vegetables have still got a good nice bit of bite in them, and not overcooked. Drizzle that oil all around the edge. These are the power moves now, you see, where you get that nice green burnt butter. To finally finish, we can go a little touch of lemon juice. You don't want to put the lemon in too early because it's just going to discolour all the beans and the peas. And we'll go over with a little bit of pecorino romano. And there we have it. Potato gnocchi with summer vegetables, beans, peas, courgettes, and a basil pesto. Yeah, what you're looking for is soft gnocchi, and look at that ricotta, just spoon on lots of vegetables. The gnocchi's soft, the vegetables have still got a nice bite, and the ricotta just binds it all together. It may seem complicated, but it's still home cooking, but you've just elevated it. You've just got to back yourself with this. Trust in your ability, use your taste, sense, smell, everything. And good luck.